The final danger in habit building is not only failing to start. It is succeeding just enough to become stale, rigid, or blind. Welcome to the last part of Atomic Habits. James Clear closes the book by moving beyond the four laws into advanced tactics. This section matters because once a habit exists, the question changes. It is no longer how do I begin? It becomes how do I keep improving, stay engaged, and avoid turning consistency into complacency. Clear starts with talent and genes, and he handles the topic with more nuance than the usual fake equality slogans. Genes matter. People do not begin from identical bodies, temperaments, reward responses, or cognitive strengths. Pretending otherwise can turn self-improvement into a dishonest game. But the practical use of this fact is not surrender. It is alignment. His argument is simple: pick the right game. Or at least pick a version of the game that suits your natural tendencies better. If you're built for endurance rather than explosive power, train accordingly. If you think clearly in solitude, do not build your whole productivity system around constant collaboration. If you're detail-oriented, use that. If you learn verbally, lean into that. Habits work best when the system respects the person who has to run it. This is one of the healthiest ideas in the book because it replaces some envy with fit. Many people fail in part because they copy a strategy built for someone else's wiring. Then they mistake mismatch for inadequacy. Clear is not saying comfort should rule. He is saying the lane should make sense. There is a difference between challenge and misfit. Then comes the Goldilocks rule, one of the clearest explanations for staying motivated after the novelty wears off. People remain engaged when the challenge is just beyond current ability. Too easy and boredom arrives. Too hard and anxiety or discouragement takes over. The sweet spot is where the task still stretches you, but does not humiliate you. This helps explain why habits often collapse after early progress. At first, starting is exciting. Then repetition makes the behavior ordinary. At that point, the question is whether the system still contains enough challenge, variation, or measurable refinement to hold attention. Professionals stay in the game because they learn to work through boredom, but they also keep the standard sharp enough that boredom does not become total stagnation. Clear has a surprisingly stern line here. The greatest threat to success is not failure, but boredom. People know how to handle crisis. What breaks many streaks is monotony. The workout again, the writing session again, the budget again, the walk again. The same useful thing repeated on days that feel emotionally unremarkable. That is where identity and professionalism reconnect. Amateurs want inspiration to visit. Professionals show up when the task is familiar. Habits are powerful because they automate repetition, but mastery still requires attention inside repetition. You look for small refinements, cleaner execution, better timing, more precise feedback. The routine continues, but you are not sleepwalking through it. Then Clear turns to the downside of habits, which is a strong ending because it prevents the book from becoming robotic self-optimization propaganda. Habits save effort, but they can also reduce awareness. You can become so automatic that you stop noticing whether the routine still serves the goal. A habit can harden into mindlessness. You become efficient at yesterday's solution while today's problem has changed. This is why reflection matters. Systems need review. Are the routines still aligned with the life you actually want? Has the environment changed? Has your level changed? Has the behavior turned into checkbox theater? Habits are tools, not sacred objects. They exist to support the larger direction of your life. The conclusion pulls all of this together. Results are not usually transformed by one dramatic leap. They are changed by the trajectory created from repeated action. A habit is like entering a room and moving 1 degree. 1 degree looks negligible, but if you keep walking, you end up somewhere different. The real power is not that one repetition changes everything. The power is that it changes what the next repetition is likely to be. Clear keeps returning to the idea that every habit is a vote for the person you are becoming. That may be the most memorable sentence in the entire book because it turns habits from sterile routines into identity evidence. You're never only checking a box. You are proving something small and directional. This also explains why the book has had such broad appeal. Atomic Habits is not only about workouts, diet, or productivity. It is about behavior architecture. It gives people a way to think about change that is less romantic and more durable. It assumes inconsistency, friction, boredom, and imperfection will all show up. Then it asks how to build anyway. There is even a moral quietness to the book that makes it stronger. Clear does not promise that habit design will erase grief, randomness, bad luck, illness, grief again, or the complicated reality of being human. He promises something more believable, better defaults, better responses, better odds, better alignment between the person you want to be and the actions your days are actually made of. So what should remain after the last page? Make the cues obvious. Make the behavior attractive. Make the start easy. Make the repetition satisfying. Choose the right game. Keep the challenge alive. Review the system before the system hardens into stale ritual. And remember that tiny improvements are not trivial if they alter direction long enough. Atomic Habits ends where strong, practical books often end. Not with a miracle, but with responsibility made manageable. You do not need a total life overhaul by Friday. You need a system that can keep casting better votes. Thank you for spending this full journey with me. We started with tiny changes in identity, moved through the 4 laws of behavior change, and ended with a long game of fit, boredom, review, and mastery. That is why this book lasts. It respects both ambition and human limitation. Final close. The deepest result of good habits is not only that you get what you wanted. It is that little by little, you become someone who can be trusted with the life you are building.